brothers, welcome to the new year. It is 2026, and it only feels appropriate to say Happy New Year and let's get started again. Seems like every year it's the same narrative. New year, new self, new you. Let's do something different this year that we didn't do last year. And, really and truly, it's a new self, a new you, doing new things is just a daily grind, man. It's not about waiting to a specific time. It's not about, when next week gets here, I'm going to start drinking more water, or, I've been really putting off my sleep habits and just trying to grind through the nights, just trying to get a little extra in. I'll start sleeping more next week. That's a false narrative that we all fall under at some point in time in some part of our life. Okay. So I love the attitude. Let's do this new us, new fitness, new eating, new get better at life, be a better dad, be a better husband, be a better person, be a better leader. But it doesn't have to wait until a certain time. In fact, what I've come to realize is that when you tell yourself that you're going to start whenever, say in a week, that time between the time that you said that and the time that you actually start, if you actually start at that point, you could have been making progress that whole time. Just little steps. But I'm not here to criticize anyone, but I'm here to redirect your thinking a little bit, because I feel like a lot of people, myself included, get overwhelmed at the thought of having to do something more or new. Okay. If you're a dad and you've got kids and your kids are a lot anyway, right? Well, if you run a business or you have a job and you have your kids and then you have all this going on, and then you got you've got your wife as well. And it's like, there's so many things that pull you in so many different directions. Just the single thought of having to add something else into the mix, it's really overwhelming. So I say that to say, I understand where the mindset is, but you've also got to understand that delaying something is not going to help the situation at all either. So there's a compromise to be made there. You just take a little step in that new direction. Okay. Just something small. Like right now, for instance, if you're wanting to start getting in shape again, it's the new year. A lot of people like to start new fitness, which is great. You feel fresh. You're going to have this goal, and we're going to stay on this goal, and we're going to get it done, and we're going to be healthier, and we're going to do better, and we're going to follow this goal on out. That's wonderful. I'm not mocking it by any means. You should do that. In fact, I offer solutions for that. However, when you're starting it, man, just start now, but just start with a different habit change. Habit changes are key to overall change. So if you have a leak in your bathtub, right? Your faucet drips and drips and drips and drips. But if you put a container underneath that faucet that's leaking and you go to bed and it's dripping all night long, You come back the next morning, it's going to be substantially filled, the container is, when you wake up, because it's just a little drip after a little drip after a little drip after a little drip. And those little drips add up to big surface area, right? They compound more and more and more just off of little drips. Well, these little habits that you change affect your whole outcome. You know, whether it's for this fitness journey example, if you just start with going to bed 30 minutes earlier. And I know that sounds like nothing, like what? Well, the biggest thing about fitness that I didn't understand is that sleep is so crucial because you've got to replenish. Okay. That's just one example, but say you go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Well, the next morning, you're going to be 30 minutes more charged than you normally are. And then you roll into, you drink water before you drink any coffee. Well, that when you're asleep overnight, your body becomes dehydrated because it hasn't done anything but breathe all night and flipped and turned and occasionally get up to go pee. But you drink some water before you have some coffee. So that just drinking that water right there to help rehydrate your body some, that's another habit change. Something, a small movement, a small action that will actually help you keep moving forward. Okay. Little things like that. Perhaps we don't go and grab for the donut that was left from yesterday in the kitchen for breakfast. Maybe we grab a banana instead. I know these things sound minute and very silly, but these little behaviors is how big changes happen. Okay. And it's not just with your fitness, it's with everything. It's with your wife, you know, the little behavior changes that if just going up and just giving her a hug at random times or just a random text message during the day. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I love you. Or, how about we put the kids to bed about 30 minutes earlier so we can have some time to just hang out? Little things like that it will help your marriage with your kids. It's just instead of on the weekends when you want to just leave me alone, I want to rest or whatever, why don't you go and sit with them while they're on their iPad? Say, hey, what's going on with you? And what you playing? Just checking in with them. They don't need much time. In fact, the older they get, the less time they want to spend with you. But that being said, it only just takes a little thing like that. These little habits, these little changes. I'm not talking about like developing a solid habit that you've had for 30 years. I'm talking about making a habit of changing these little habits that you have been doing for 30 years, that you have been doing this past year, that you want to change this year so that you can get a little bit better. Which brings you back to your why and, well, what is the reason you want to change? Because a lot of times when the new year starts, you have all these goals and dreams and, we want to do this, we want to do that. Well, a lot of times if it's just based off of new and excitement and doing something different, but that will fade over time, and it often does. Even if you say, I'm going to join the gym, I'm going to do a fitness program, and I'm going to eat better, and, that's good. And it will last until it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you need something to fall back. When the momentum slows down, when you have an issue and you can't go to the gym that day, well, I'll just pick up tomorrow. But then something with the kids happens, or something with work. Well, I'll just have to do that the next day. And, you wake up late, or then you don't grab your lunch, and now you got to eat out. There's these little things happen. But having your why in stone, knowing why you do what you do, who you do it for, that will keep you disciplined. And staying disciplined will carry you through all these hiccups in the daily grind, because it is a daily grind, and you will have hiccups every day. It's just part of life. And if you think that you're going to get around it, good luck. But my point is, to all of this, if I absolutely support changing your life for the better, doing things, changing your habits in a way that's going to benefit not just your life, but the people that's in your life as well. It's like just the other night, we've been so crazy with the whole holiday madness and going here and going there and all these different functions and dance recitals and Santa and all this kind of stuff. And, with all that going on, it was very hard for you to hold a fitness routine. Well, we decided we're going to get back into it as a family. And my wife had mentioned to me that she wanted to go for a run. Well, then one of our kids heard it and ran and told the other two, said, Mom's going to run. We're all going to run. We're all going to work out. And it turned into this big thing because everyone got so excited. But I say that to say just your little habits like that, little things, little adjustments in your life, the little things like that you don't think really much of because it's just part of the daily grind. When my kids heard that Mom was going to want to run, it fired everybody up. So if you think that your actions don't necessarily affect everyone else in your household, sorry to say you're wrong. I'm not really sorry. I'm just going to go ahead and say you're wrong, because they do. They affect everyone in the household, and your kids especially, because they're watching. They're watching what you do and how you do things. And not only that, but your wife is watching as well. Okay? So be the man, be the leader in your house. Take care of business. Be the example. So change your habits. Small steps. It might feel overwhelming. You might not want to do it. I don't blame you. I feel that way too sometimes. But you just push through and you're going to be glad that you did. But it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be all overwhelming. You can just start with a small step and then compound your steps, just like that drip in the bathtub I was talking about. And before you know it, you're back going. Get your why in check. Get your why concrete. Really hone in on what your why is and lock in on it. And then that way, that'll keep your discipline in check. And then that way, when hiccups happen, you're good. And just remember that other people in your life are affected by your actions. They're watching you. Your wife and your kids, they're watching you, bro. So anyway, I hope this brought value, and Happy New Year to you. And I hope you achieve your fitness goals and your life goals and your habits and everything else. And if there's anything I could do to help, I'm here for you. So till the next time, y'all be great.